called is a Mr. Excitement. Last 29th May, I met with him in virtually. On that time, I saw him. He is so energetic, dynamic, and mind-blowing speaker. Today, he will conduct a topic which is situational leadership. In this topic, you may find a lot of things from him. So, Mr. Hamza Taqi.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Yusuf.
Great, great, great. So I'm saying you are so exciting, man.
Thank you.
You can say something about you.
Thank you so much. Well, I would like to begin with a story, as usual. In 1997, I was like working in the bank for about 9 years. So I'm in year 9 in the bank. And I was handling product development. So I was creating product and services for the bank. After being in customer service and selling, I became a sales expert, and then I went into marketing. But my background was totally engineering, and I had to learn everything from zero. And everybody tells me anything, I have a journal, I write it down, and I excelled over many people because I was doing that. So one day I was in the elevator and the CEO walks in. Now the CEO, I don't report to him directly. I have a GM that I report to, and he reports to the CEO. His name was John Wright, and he asked me a question in the elevator. He said, Hamza, what do you want to be? A marketeer or a banker? And I was like, by then, I didn't know. I was doing well in the banking, and I was learning, and I was, climbing up the corporate ladder. But then, because I was working in marketing, I said marketeer. He said, good, you told me marketeer, because I was afraid you would tell me banking, then I would tell you should go into trade finance. And then he said, but Hamza, you are an engineer. You don't have the qualification of marketeer. Why did you check out CIM.co.uk? And this is the Charter Institute of Marketing in the UK, more than 100 years old in Berkshire. And he said, the bank will sponsor you. And immediately, this was like few seconds in the elevator. Huh? I made it maybe longer. So I left my floor, and I went to the computer. I looked at the CIM, and I registered, and I became a charter marketeer. To cut the story short, is the fact that leader asked me a question, and he was genuinely interested in me as a person, even though I don't report to him directly. And then not only that, he advised me or he gave me directions where to go and how to become qualified marketing. This question has changed my life dramatically. If it wasn't for that question, I wouldn't be here with you. My life changed after that when I became a chartered marketeer, and I saw the value of people they bring in organization. And that's what made me think of, going into learning and development in a younger age. While I was working, I was doing learning and development as a part-time or an extra thing, because I enjoyed learning, and I enjoy because from engineering, I learned banking, I learned selling, I learned customer service, I became a professional marketeer, to the extent that I had to leave the bank. I went to 2 startup companies. One failed, one was very successful. And then I went into telecom industry. Nokia back then in 2000 was booming. and I did 7 years in the telecom. And then I decided, after 20 years, I established Knowledge Consulting with a partnership with the Future Icon. Here we are talking about situational leadership. So what do you get from this story? I mean, if you tell me, like, I don't know if you have like a chat or comment, what does the leader usually do? I mean, what's the work of the leader? We as leaders, what do we do in our daily work, in our daily basis, in our daily task? What do we do when we go our daily routine? Thank you.
Dear viewers, already Mr. Hamza Taqi একটা স্টোরি বলেছেন। এখান থেকে আপনারা কি শিখলেন সেটা একটু লিখে জানাবেন। উনি আপনাদের কাছ থেকে সেটা একটু শুনতে চাচ্ছে। Are you see Mr. Hamza Taqi?
Motivating individuals.
Right. Yes.
Leaders guide a team towards achieving a goal. Yes, immediately. Based on the situation, leaders make decisions. That's the critical area we are talking about. It's always situational, because see, if my boss is Mr. Yusuf, and Mr. Yusuf gives me a task. Let's say he wants me to write a report. How does he do that? He's talking to me. He's telling me, you know, Hamza, I want you to write a report about this program, for example. Now, the idea is Mr. Yusuf must know what is my capability in writing that report. Am I really fully developed in report writing, or I've never done a report before? And that's where you are really, as a leader, you are situational, and you are really mindful about your people, especially now with the after Corona and what's happening to us. You know, leaders have to be really, really mindful and situational to their people. So, Mr. Yusuf, for this example of report writing, if I am fully developed in report writing and a professional and a subject matter expert in report writing, does he need to give me directions? Answer this question. Or what does he need to give me? If I'm fully developed, I'm an expert in report writing, and he wants me to write him a report, what do I need from him as an employee? Confident to build a team and give the right direction. Beautiful. Leaders gives his best effort to achieve the goal. Absolutely. Leaders are mindful. Absolutely. Leaders create future leaders. Wow, this is John C. Maxwell always say, if you want to see leaders who create other leaders, and he see the potential. And this is what happened to my story, Mr. Muhammad, I think. What happens to my story with John Wright, that he found something in me I didn't see. And this is the beauty of leaders. That's why leaders are important. And since ACON people are studying leaders, and we are evolving and we're learning as we go along. We used to talk about the treat leadership, or leadership is born or unborn, and all this stuff. So we as leaders, what we do only, we communicate, we talk, and this interaction that John made with me in the elevator changed my life. Absolutely changed my life, made me another person. I mean, especially with the marketing, when you know, in the marketing, they teach you the 4 Ps, the marketing mix. And then they added, because of the service, they added that service mix, 3, people, process, and physical evidence. So what made that is that, you know, the people are the most important element in any business, in the marketing mix, and marketing is a business. Marketing is all about finding or identifying the needs, or maybe projecting the needs or anticipating the needs for your customers and provide them with a solution with a profit. That's what marketing is. So basically, in marketing, I learned that the importance of people. And there are, you know, some leaders, they are just naturally are not good with people. What do you think? Give me in the comment. Do you think these guys will be successful if they are not good with people? Thank you. Thank you, Khatka. Leaders direct a great team and motivates team members, achieve goals, and create potential for the team. Absolutely. Leaders transform icon to show well-organized ideas, change followers, conception, as well as motivate them. Absolutely. Absolutely, Muhammad. That's how. We need to be empathetic. Oh, Ogla, you had it in the right place. You know, being empathetic, especially in this time. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You see, this is Olga. It's another from California. Thank you. Salute to you.
Thank you for being here, Olga.
Olga.
Yeah. Keep on thriving.
Keep on thriving. Yes.
Can we go to the presentation now? All right.
You can. You can.
The program in the Situation Leadership 2, it's by Ken Blanchard companies, and it's very well organized and designed, and really, you know, takes you through a journey. And the journey is by the launch. When the launch, we send 2 assessment, leadership assessment, and about 3 articles to read about the original of leadership. And then you come to a classroom or a virtual classroom like this, where we spend about 3 days learning about a new language and a new leadership. And then we go off, and then we come back for another 3 days where we practice where we learned. And then you go out with a mobile app, and you go with Blanchard Exchange, where all the resources that we studied, all the examples, all the videos will be for you to go and teach your people, so you really understand the situation leadership, and you apply it with your people to be successful. Of course, the material, they're very, you know, very nice. They come all the way from the States, and this is the model, and we'll just go through it very fast. So for us to learn, please, my friend, just unplug. I know we're very much connected in our mobile. Sometimes we get some, to get the advantage, just please unplug, and then get engaged, you know, participate, question, you know, comment, then reflect on what I say. Not necessarily taking it as is. No, just reflect and think. Does it work for you? Does it not work for you? Sometimes different culture, different things plays a different manner. So really reflect on it, and that's really how we learn. Why situational leadership? Because we learn a new language, and then we increase the quality and the quantity of our conversation. We want to have good conversation with our children, with our teammates, with our community, with everybody that we touch. It's purely conversation. So the quality and the quantity, you learn the quality and the quantity of your conversation with your people through the situational leadership program. And you can develop other self-reliance. Basically, when it comes to your children, when it comes to your team, when it comes to all your people, you really want your every individual expert in their field, right? You want them to be fully developed. You want them to be really when you give them a task, they just run with it, don't you? What do you think? Tell me in the comment if you think this works for you or not. Because, see, as leaders, we don't have a lot of time. So what we have to do, we really have to use our time in a good way, so we develop our people, become really experts in what they do. So they feel the autonomy, they feel they are strong, they can contribute, they feel they are engaged in the organization, and they're contributing, and they, you have less work or less worry to worry about. You're thinking about how to enhance the environment, you're planning the future, you're envisioning, you're doing all these good things because your people are very well equipped. Now, let's do this exercise. I don't know if we have a break rooms here, or maybe, usually I do break rooms and I will divide you on fours, all the teams, and you go into your breakout rooms and you discuss your worst leader and what did they do to make them worse leaders, and how did you react to them being worse leaders. So I don't know if you want to give me any suggestion. I mean, or somebody comes in and tell me, personal, not in your existing job, maybe in another job, what was, the reaction of a worse leader and what they did do, or what
thank you very much, Mr. Excitement.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf.
Dear participants, you can write some characteristics of worst leadership. Example, apni apna.
Harms a lot, yeah. Oh, Mirza, absolutely. If they don't know how to communicate, means they don't listen. They don't ask the right question. Remember John Wright's question to me? Knows nothing but show everything, and these are the fake people, or they are not authentic. Yes, Mr. Mahatar, characters, bad leaders, very angry. Oh, okay. No emotional intelligence. Worst leader feature, thinking about himself. Absolutely, all beautiful comments. Can I share with you my personal stories? Once upon a time, my leader, one of the leaders that I had so many great leaders in my life, and I had some, not that great, or they require extra development. This gentleman, he asked me to do something, a certain task, and I went and took care of the task. And apparently, we were not supposed to do this. The legal department, they are the one that's supposed to talk to the client and deal with them. But my boss asked me, and I took the initiative, being, very energetic and passionate about my work. And I went and met the client without the legal department knowing. And this backfired on us. What do you think the reaction of my boss? He said to them, Hamza did it. I don't know why he did it. And I went to him and I said, but boss, you told me to do this. And I followed your instructions. I followed your directions. And now you're telling me. He said to me, you know what he said to me? Show me, did I give you anything in writing? Can you imagine? Do you get leaders like this? And, we know that, any team cannot be built except on the foundation of trust. All the religions in the world, they talk about trust. Trust is the foundation to build a good community. Trust is a foundation to build a good country, a good civilization, a good team. So, you know, when a boss like this, or you must be familiar with the metaphor of the mirror and the window. And this is basically mirror, the window is the boss. When the worst boss is the one that you know, when the things are doing very well, when the department's doing very well, he goes to the mirror and he looks at himself and he says, it's because of me, because I'm the leader. And he goes to the higher management and receive the awards and so on without acknowledging his team. But when there is a problem in the department, or the sales goes down, or there is a big issue happening, that leader goes to the window and he says, because of them, you gave me mediocre people, how can I be successful? Now, I'm not saying, like, you know, of course, you give a leader a good team, he will excel. But a bad leader will not excel even with a good team, even with the good people, because what? They will leave him. They will leave him immediately. So how are we doing so far? Of course, yes, Ogla, definitely. Loyalty is lacked here. This is an unbelievable. Must be something wrong. Who made this guy a leader? Yes, and Mr. How? Tell me this. There is a research has been made on this. How leaders becomes leaders in our communities, or in our countries, or in our cultures. Tell me in the comment bar now. Tell me how leaders are promoted to be leaders. Real facts. How the leaders are promoted to be leaders. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. Thinking as superior, not challenging, without trust, no team. Yes, absolutely. Team management. I mean, yes, team management. Please tell us leadership definition. How can I be a good leader when running a team? Sure, I will. But you don't need definition, because see, a great human being soft in heart. Yes, son, thank you. Son and why, yes. Depending on controlling power, okay, thank you. It is very important to appoint good people as a leader. Okay, let me tell you how leaders are, for the sake of, I love your comment, it's beautiful, and I hope they are all captured. But I tell you how leaders are promoted everywhere. One is by connection. And this is not bad. Sometimes it's bad. If you have good connection with the board of directors, because with the C-level, you might get promoted. But if you are not good, you will not be, you know, you're not successful on the long run. You will not be success. And you will be fake, and your people will find you. This is one. But sometimes connection is good. You have good relationship, and you are a good leader. They put you in the right place, and you succeed, and you take the organization for a better place. This is one. The second is by time. So I am in the sales department, okay, and I'm the oldest, I'm the longest. I trained and coached all the buddy mentor, all the sales people that are now in. So now there is a vacancy to be a team leader or to be a manager. Now I get promoted in that manner, correct? That's another way, right? That's the second way. And the third way, which doesn't happen enough, is the leader that has all the skills of being a good manager, bulletproof manager, you know, who knows how to communicate, who has a good emotional intelligence, and who's mindful about their people. So that's how leaders become leaders, and that's why we have real problems in leadership. You know, otherwise you don't see fights, you don't see war between countries, because we have lack of leadership. And that's why leadership is very important. And the situational leadership really help us out, really understand the leadership, at least from our own circle of influence, and then move on to go up and up. So that's how really favorism, yes, Fatima, absolutely. And that could be a wrong way, right? We can do another exercise, but for the sake of time, we can't talk about good leaders. And how did we react to what they did? I want to know a behavior. Can you write down a behavior? I mean, what exactly a good leader did to you, and how did you react?
Basically,
good relationship, definitely. A leader can be promoted and when he trusts his team and he's developed. Yes, Rizwan, agree. Bisno, good relationship, exactly. Okay, Islam, understand their people, good communication skills, yes. I want to know, for your personal, I mean, what did they do and how you felt? Like, I mean, my worst leader, what he did and how did that make me feel? Thinking as team, yes, thinking of we, coach, developing, especially Minhaj, developing their people, and who's familiar with Maxwell, John C. Maxwell 5 level of leadership? Being grounded in ethics, thank you, Ramesh, yes. Integrity, definitely. Can do anything, good relationship, yes, good. Okay. Nice. Good. All well received. Am I on the presentation now? Well done. These are some of the examples.
Okay. You can back again.
Excellent.
It's absolutely right.
Okay. So if you have a tick marker, did you get any of these reactions? Best leader usually make you work harder, give you discretionary effort. It makes you give. You give more than what you speak positively about the organization. Even when you go home, you stay loyal because of the best leaders. You shared your best ideas. You trust your leader, and this is the best environment you want to work in, really. That's why leaders are really important. So best leaders create optimally motivating environment by appraisal of leader. Appraisal of leadership behavior. They know that they are on stage, and every word that they talk and every single thing they say, it's really affect their people. Let me give you one thing on the behavior. Once upon a time, I was the chief commercial officer of one of the telecom organizations, and this is an international organization, and they have operation all over 20 countries. And basically, I have a brand manager who happened to be a lady, and she usually come late. And I'm a really early morning person. So I decided that we have a meeting, just casual meeting, at 8 o'clock in the morning. So this was bothering her, and this is daily meeting. All of us, we sit like in a very comfortable area in the office, and we chat about something new, what's happening, just to get together and just to get to know. And I just joined them. I don't know everybody. So this lady, once she came into the late, and you can tell she's a late sleeper. She sleeps late and she comes. She works hard. She's really hard worker and she does know her job. But the problem for me is I just know her, and she came to the meeting late. And back then it was a winter time, and she had like a long, those long boots that up to half of the knee, and casually, and that's, I'm being vulnerable here because this is a mistake I did by asking her, where is your horse? Can you imagine? And all the people who are sitting, and obviously it's a bad joke, but because I'm their boss, they started laughing. She looked, she looked very much, saddened about that. And I had to rectify it. So really watch out of what goes out of your mouth, because as a leader, you are on stage. Sense of well-being. You give your people their self-identity. Show them your intention, their intentions, behaviors, and this will lead to the result. And here, according to Ken Blanchard, to do above average work, give discretionary effort, be a good citizen, stay and endorse your organization. That's very important. Before we go to the SLX story, I would like to share Kahoot with you. More players. Okay, cool. Okay, let's start. Select your choice. Answer. 4 seconds. Okay. How come only one person answered? You have only 20 seconds to answer the question. Let's go to next. Okay, Hassan is number 1. Yay. Okay, true and false. You have 20 seconds. Leadership is something you do to people. Yes. Yes. Time is up. Oh. Leadership is something you do with people. Leadership is something you do with people. Leadership is not something you do to people. Next. Okay, Ramesh is number 1. Let's go. Quiz. Multiple selection. As a leader, what do you focus on? Your people. Uh-oh. Yes, actually, these competencies and commitment Because competency, it's related to energy, and even commitment is related to willingness. Let's see who number one. Ramesh is still number one, and we have Didar is coming as number two. Fourth question. What is the most effective leadership style? I see coaching is number one, huh? Yeah, they're all correct actually, depending on the situation. Again, if I'm an expert in report writing, do I need my boss to coach me on report writing? Of course not. Maybe he will delegate report writing to me, right? But if I'm not developed in report writing, yes, I need coaching, I need directions maybe, right? Okay, let's go. Let's see who is number one. Oh, Mr. Excitement. I'm cheating here because I made the question. I know the answers. What do you think? 6 said no. Yeah. If you think of yourself, if you left any organization ever, you didn't leave the organization, you left your boss. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is basically what it is. We always leave the person who is, you know, our head or who is managing us. The organization usually is fine. Oh, Arafin is coming. Last question, why leaders are important? They're all correct, as you see. They're all correct. The leader without a vision cannot do anything, without influencing cannot do anything, without developing others. Like, you know, I had one of my best leaders was a guy who was always looking on developing me. So year by year, I see myself getting new skills, getting a new way of doing things. I am growing my brain. So that's really, really excellent things to have. Okay, number 3. Number 2. Shouldn't me, please, not me. Oh. Well done, well done, well done, well done. Well done, well done. Hello back. Just a little exercise. And let's go back to the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, of course, when you come to the full program, Ken Blanchard created a dilemma about Mark and Bob. Bob is the central, let's say, the scenario of this organization. This is an international organization headed by Kathleen, and this is the board of director. this is the CEO, and Bob was handling. Bob is with Drew and Jessica. They are on the same level as leader of the organization. Bob has his team, and Drew and Jacinta has their team, and there are people under them, but they work in a matrix. For example, Greta is an accountant, so sometimes he works with Bob. And then we have here Suzanne. Suzanne has nothing to do with the organization, only that she is the wife of Bob. I'm trying to paint the picture here of the organization, just briefly, because in the original program, we go and see a video where they all interact, and then we look at the dilemma, and we see the conversation that they're having. It doesn't have high quality. And then we go into breakdown rooms, and then we discuss what happened in the video and come out with these two questions, answer for these two questions. And then we introduce Mark, who is very much an introvert. He's an engineer, but he's very skillful. He's very much excellent in what he does, but he cannot lead people. He cannot communicate. He cannot assign people goals and so on. So he was given the leadership role, and of course we see him suffering with his team trying to develop a solution for Hong Kong project, but then he cannot do that because he was not trained to be a team leader. And then we discuss, and we go, after seeing the movie, we go into our breakdown rooms and we discuss how competent, motivated, and confident Mark is. Of course, he is competent, but he is not confident. And then we see him, with the lady who's in charge of another project, asking him for the feedback and what's happening on the project. Then the way she talks to him, the conversation is like interrogation. And then when you see the movie, we can discuss it in the breakdown room. And then we see another kind of Jacinta, where she situationally, adapt herself to become a better conversation with Mark, and Mark will feel good. And the question is that, why do you want your people to feel good? Because sometimes in one conversation with your team member, you can make an effect on your team member, whether positive or negative. It depends on how you talk to them and how you engage in a conversation with them, be it at the elevator, be it or saying good morning, or seeing them in a meeting. And this is very important on how we about being mindful and how we show up with our people, and we focus, and obviously with our children as well. Of course, we care about Mark feeling, because Mark is a very dedicated person. His contribution to the team, to the project, is very tangible. So we always want him to feel good, so he contributes. Who says people were good under pressure? All the researchers, they say people, when they are having fun, this is when they are at their extreme level of production and interest and excitement and passion, where they create and solve problems and destroy all the challenges in front of them and become more resilient and gritty. So the value of common language. When you speak with your team and your team people speak to you on the same level, can you imagine that your team member comes to you and knowing exactly what he or she needs from you, whether needing carrot, like we said in the puzzle, a carrot, or you want a stick. And what do you want? You want motivation, or you want process? So we need to have a common language where we as leaders or we as employee with the leaders can communicate in a very simple way, precise and concise, and there is no room to waste time. So what we will learn, 3 skills and 5 conversations, or 6 conversations, sorry. The skills we will learn: goal setting and aligning on what needs to be done and when to be done. And then the diagnosing. As leaders, you need to be like a doctor. You diagnose your people, whether each individual, you want to know their commitment, their competency to the specific goal that they will do or task. And then you need to match your leadership style to their development level, or what you diagnose them to be, how they are in terms of the task, or in terms of the goal that you're giving your individual people or partners to do for you. So you need to be crystal clear about goal setting. And the 6th conversation, unfortunately, today we will not talk about the 6th conversation. This is a bigger, in the practice area, we'll do it. But to go through it quickly, and once we see the leadership SL2 model, you will see these type of conversation. In each situation, you have different conversation. But the beauty part here is you can have one-on-one conversation, but what? Based on whom? Based on the team member. So you as a team member can request a meeting, and this is scheduled. You built a system with it, scheduled, that I can see I have one-on-one conversation with my boss, where I lead that conversation and I put the agenda. And usually the agenda for these conversation and meetings, it takes 20 minutes only. It's 3 items, very concise, very short, And the alignment conversation, it's led by the leader. Okay. So on SL2, it's not something to do with people, as we saw in the example. It's something to do with people, and this is definitely gives you the focus on people engagement, on your team engagement, which we have a lot of lack on. So the first skill we're going to talk about very quickly. You all know about SMART goals, but Ken Blanchard, companies here, did it in a different way. I think it's smarter and it's more tangible, and you can get a lot of it. Because frankly speaking, goal setting is a skill that not everybody knows about, or nobody can really do it in a really good way, or with a good quality. And there are organizations popping up now in the West that all they do, they go and help organization and individual to set their goals. Because see, when your goal is really crystal clear, the universe will work toward, and all the sources will come to you to achieve that goal. So sometimes as a leader, we are not clear on the goal that we want to achieve. So how about how can we convey, and how can we give that goal, and how we communicate that goal to our people? And that's the problem of leadership. And some of you in the comment said lack of communication. And that's one part of how you communicate your goals. So what sort of goal you set with your people, and you have to rate yourself from 0 to 100. And I don't know if you can use where are you in terms of setting goals, and we all can do that for ourselves and test ourselves in our SMART goals. What is a goal? A goal, it should be written that way: achieve an outcome when. Okay, so that's a template for a goal. And we have another template for a SMART task: perform an activity, how and when. So that's a task, and that's a goal. And each of our goals should be in that format: easy, straightforward. But goals are specific, right? We all know that. S stands for specific, what exactly the goal or the task is, and what does a good job look like. And then we go to the time bound that we all know. And here, Ken Blanchard did it as a trackable. And this is really beautiful to understand, because see, and these are the two parts that are written in the goal. The other part are discussed face to face or virtually or whatever, or how you are handling your team. But the trackable part is once you agree on the goal with your team member, is you say to your team member, how you would like me to track your progress to make sure that we are on the right track. Now, this is very important, because it's not giving a goal to a certain person and you just go off, like most leaders do. Go do this, and usually as leaders you're too busy, and you just and then person goes to his desk thinking, what am I going to do? He didn't give me good direction. Is he giving me? I needed direction. I don't know about this task, you know. But then when you tell him, you know, how would you like me? I tell Yusuf, Mr. Yusuf, my boss, how would you like me to track you, or how would you track my record, or my achievement, or my progress? How would you track it? Shall we meet once a week, depending on the time frame, or maybe monthly, or maybe if it's a short goal, maybe meeting daily, especially in the first moment, especially if I need more directions. And then what is the relevancy of the goal for the aligned with the big organizational goal? See, this, you know, once I know whatever I'm doing, is it moving the ship, a huge oil tanker, to the right destination or not? And that's very much gives me more, you know, effort to do my job in a right way. Is it attainable? Is the goal realistic? And is it achievable? Because, you know, you can give goal that has, you know, if you don't achieve it, it's like you cannot move, and you see yourself as a failure, and it's not motivating, and sometimes you leave the organization because of the huge task or the goal that is not within your capability or your expertise. The M stands for motivating. Am I excited and interested in this goal? Because see, if it's not motivated, it doesn't wake me up in the morning to go and do it, to pursue it. So part of you as a leader to see that task or that goal, when you give it to your subordinate, what is the excited part about it? Why is it? How does it motivate that person? So he takes it with full passion. He wants to do it, and he wants to do the job good and well. So I have this exercise for you, and you have to tell me if this is smart or not smart. The goal says to win approval for the higher standards on the new building design within the next 2 months. So is that what is needed, and by when? Is that specific enough? Can you make it more specific? Of course, you can make it more specific. You can put a date instead next month, right? Or you can say by, instead of 2 months, by saying, for example, a 20 or 3rd of September. Then you made it more specific, correct? Another goal, to get a sign-off on the new environmental standard by May in order to fix the engineering design on the new building. Is that specific or not specific? And this is a test for you and for us to see different type of goals and to play around with it. So is your goal smart? You need to decide that for yourself and for your people. And you know, the program comes with nice tools and good job aids where you can, you know, define your goals. And this is basically the work goal sheet. We give it in the pre-launch 2 weeks before you attend the SLII program that we do virtually, and with the assessment that you do, and the articles that you must read before coming to the program itself. Usually we take a break here. So what happened with this project and what happened to Mark? The CEO finds this gentleman on the right. He's a good consultant. He's very good in doing his job, and he comes to help Mark to get the approval of the design. But the way the CEO brought the consultant in to help Mark was wrong. What happened? They lost a huge talent. Mark left the company and he got a better job and a better, just because, and the CEO did not do it intentionally. She had a good intention. She brought this consultant to help Mark, but the way, and she did not, she did not have good conversation that Mark needed from her, and she was not situational with Mark, that Mark decided to leave. Now the questions to my audience: how many times you had people, talented people, leave your organization because you missed the conversation with them? Think about it. We lose good talent and we start looking for a replacement. You know, Kathleen, the CEO, when he resigned, she came to the CEO, the consultant. She said, "We have a job for you." And he said, "Why? Mark is a good candidate. He can do the job. What happened to Mark?" She said to him, "Mark resigned." He said to her, "Why did you lose? Mark is an excellent person for that position or for that project," which was a very high project and very has a lot of impact in terms of a brand of the organization and so on, which they might apparently they would lose, and maybe Mark will get it through his the work in the competition. And this is what happens when we are not doing the right. This is what went wrong. I talked about it, and these are the questions. Usually we do it in a break room session, and the team goes. But for the sake of the time, I'm trying to speed this because this is not the so there is alignment conversation. The alignment conversation, you have to have the leader always initiate with their individuals to check on the goals, to check on the development level, and this is the diagnosing part of the skills, the second skill, and then using the light leadership style. This is what I try to get as much as I can in this webcast. And there is another tool, worksheet, that you get based on the goals that you have with your boss, and the development level, the development level is based on competence and commitment. Okay, you know the development level, whether I am D1 here, or so you should use style 1 with it. If I'm D2, D3 here, I'm the same person, that my leader will use D3 here because I am D3 in this task, according to this task. So it's always according to the task you identify the development level, which we will talk about now using the diagnosing skills of a situational leader. So the diagnosing skills is collaboratively assessing an individual competence and commitment. And there is a big difference between competence and commitment on a specific goal or task. And I will use this example, report writing. Now, if Mr. Yusuf FT gives me a task of the report writing, and he asks me to write a report, he must check two things: my commitment to writing that report and my competency. Am I able to write that report? So it's like, am I able and am I willing? Now, if I'm a new person and my leader Yusuf give me a task, am my commitment going to be high or low? It's going to be high. My commitment, because I want to show my boss that I'm good. But she gave me the task, but my competency is low. So I am the enthusiastic learner. I'm the enthusiastic, and this is D1. I am D1. And in D1, I need more direction than support. So competence is demonstrated goals or tasks, specific knowledge and skills. Demonstrated transferable knowledge. So, for example, Mr. Yusuf gives me a task to write a report, and he needs to find out, am I competent? I might tell him, yeah, I'm very competent. I'm very good, because I don't want to show that I'm not competent. Now, Mr. Yusuf should be alert and mindful to ask me, how many reports have you written? When was the right report that you wrote? What was it about? Now, from this question, he can find out if I've written a report or not. If I'm really competent, I can teach others, so transferable knowledge and skill. So he would ask me, okay, you're so competent, can you teach Muhammad how to write a report? So you find out whether your people are competent in that conversation. Now, the commitment part is basically, oops, sorry, where did I go? This is the competence, and then we go to the commitment part. How motivating the person is, and how confident he is for that task, and so there are two things in the competency, and there are two things in the commitment, and we go deep on this. But development level, if I am in D1 in a certain task, that means I low in competency and high in commitment. If I'm D2, I am low to some competence, okay, because I know now more, because I took the report, I started looking at it and want to write a similar, so I know, but my competency went up, but my commitment went low. Why do you think my commitment went low? I'm so excited when I took the job, when I took the task, I found out, oh, I have to do a lot. It's not what I expected. And here, your team member needs totally different style of leadership than what you need when you are D1 or D3 or D4. So this is the development level. And as leaders, we all have to have development stories. And to develop your development story, find the skill that you are D4 at, and remember where were you as D1 and how you developed to D2, to D3, to D4. Why you need the story? So you can tell to your team member about the development level and how the new language that you are operating under the situational leadership. For example, I'll give you a story. In 1992, after liberation of Kuwait, two of my friends started buying boats, recreational boats for fun, not for fishing or any commercial value. So we started going with them in the boat in the sea. And this is a beautiful thing you do in the summer, always in Kuwait, not in the lockdown now, unfortunately. And I hope things will open up soon, hopefully. So we went to the sea, and there is a sport, a sea sport. I know all of you have seen it and know about it, and some of you, I'm sure they are D4 at this sport, which is called water ski. Now, water ski, I remember in the old days when there was a cartoon, there is a crocodile on a ski board, a water ski, sorry, not ski board, a water ski was pulled by another, I think, crocodile with the boat, running on the water very fast, and then he ends up hitting the palm tree or the coconut tree on the beach. So it's still in my mind from childhood. And I saw two of my friends are doing the water ski, and they look so good, floating over the sea, and I wanted to do it. So I am D1 in that game or that sport. My commitment is very high because I want to do it. I'm very motivated to do it. I'm very confident that I can do it. But I don't know anything about it because I've never done it. So anyways, I said I want to do it. They say, fine. They gave me the life jacket, and I'm in the middle of the sea, and they throw the 2 big sticks like my height, and they gave me the rope that I'm supposed to handle. Now, I'm supposed to wear the stick like I'm wearing my shoe. No, I pull the stick, and they're made of nice wood. Pull the stick in the middle of the sea down so I can put them like I'm putting my shoe. And of course, what happens to the stick? It goes up because it floats. So I'm really pressuring, and because I'm used to putting my shoes in that way, where I put the shoes down and wear the sticks. So I moved from D1 to D2. Now my competency, somehow I know that even the stick I cannot wear. How about pulling myself out of the water? And my commitment, my excitement went down. I said, well, I might not be able to do it because I cannot wear the stick. Now what happened? My mentor was good. Walid Mhanna jumped into the water, and he is the water skier guy. And he came to me and he said, Hamza, what's wrong? Relax, relax. You have a life jacket, just kick back and kick back. And when you kick back on your back, your leg will be up. And when your leg will be up, your foot will be up. And you can put your foot in the sticks without having them to go down. Apparently, I put them up, and I was very happy. Now I am laying on my back, I'm holding, and the sticks are half in the water, half up, and I can see my foot. And he said, now we will start pulling you, and we will start pulling you with the force that's pulling you. You pull yourself up, and you try to. I moved from D2 to D3. Of course, first time I fell down. I tried again, and they started, supporting me and giving me more direction until I moved to D4, to the fact that whenever I got up, I leave the stick here, and I, clean my hair and my face from the water, and I go like this, and I'm doing it. Now I can teach others how to do it because I know how to do it. Now, these are the development level that every leader have to go through and have to inform their people. This is how we learn. This is how we learn. And this is how we develop. But remember, I could be in skiing D4, but in cooking D1. Or, for example, in report writing D3. So you, as my boss, you have to treat me differently as per the task specific. Now, the variables, we always have urgency, complexity, goal, task, importance, culture, leadership style preference, organizational leadership style preference, competing priorities, and the development level. This is how you make the story, and basically I explained it to you. Development story. Enthusiastic beginner, a new goal, new task, inexperience, that's his competency, right? And his commitment, eager, right? No, his commitment is high. He is enthusiastic and excited, confident. What's wrong with letting people at D1 on a specific goal figure things out on their own? What do you think? Waste of time. They will learn the wrong way and they start learning. But if you know he's or she is D1, you can give them the right directions. Now, the disillusioned learner, this is his competence and his commitment, what causes disillusionment? Need more facts. You need more directions, and you need more support, actually, encouragement. So you move into D4. The capable but cautious, he doesn't know if he's good. He's have variable commitment, and he's moderate to high competency. This is his competence base, and this is his commitment. Here, you don't dictate on him. And he doesn't need, or she doesn't need your directions, because he's already know the information. You gave him directions during D1, D2. Now he needs more support. Yes, you can do it attitude, and give him more support and encouragement. Now, be very vigilant as a leader. If you don't tackle the D4 properly, they might divert into D3, digest. Self-reliant, actually, you want all your people in a specific task or goal specific to be D4. High in competency, high in commitment. If you can achieve that, your people will love you because they see self-reliant achiever, and they are contributing to the organization, and they are the next leader. Because if Yusuf makes me a D4 in a certain skill, I can use this skill to teach others who are D4 in that skill or that task, so they become themselves D4, and we are contributing, and we are learning together, and we are growing together in a much good fashion. Now I have a game for you. Now that you know about D1 and D4 and D3, I will give you a certain task, and you tell me if you are D1 or D2 or D3 or D4 in it, okay? So, for example, cooking. Where are you in cooking? D1 or D2 or D3 or D4? For me, cooking, I'm D4. I'm a good cook. I learned how to cook. Okay, where are you in cooking? D1, D2, D3. Do it on the screen or do it on the chat. Okay, let's look at another task. Playing a musical instrument. Where are you on playing a musical instrument? Do you have a musical instrument? And if you have a musical instrument, where are you, D1, D2, D3, or D4? For example, I am D2 in a musical instrument called the guitar, trying to get to D4, D3. So this is an exercise we do to teach leaders that each one of us are in different spectrum regarding, depending on the task. So I could be a D4 in certain task, and my boss Yusuf will deal with me in a different way, and in another task his style would totally different because I'm D1 in that task. You get the idea now? I hope so. This is a breakdown. The needs of D1. They need direction, acknowledgement, smart goals, specifically what they want them to do, a prioritization, timeline, check-in point, come check on me on daily basis, show me what you have done, I'll put a slot for you. You know, some leaders, they give you the task and you are D1. Whenever you go by, you ask the secretary or the gatekeeper to come in, they tell you, no, he's busy, he's in a meeting. And you go figure it out yourself. Of course, you might make something that is wrong, not according to what you want. D1, they need a step-by-step plan for learning. This is very important. Not take him and give him, you know. Sometimes even, you know, with our children, we do this. For example, once upon a time, one of my daughter came to me. She had a math problem. Said she couldn't figure out. You know what? She was D1 in that. You know what I told her? I acted with her as if she is D4. I told her, no, you can do it yourself. I'm sure you can do it. You'll figure it out. Of course, she went and she had to figure it out, but she wasted a lot of time and energy, and maybe, you know, in the work situation, this doesn't happen. D2, this is their needs. I'm not going to go through them. D3, this is their needs for D3. And then D4, they need basically trust. You know, sometimes we have D4, like Mark. we end up losing them because we're micromanaging. You know, with the person who's D4 in a certain task, you're micromanaging. He will look at you like strange, like, why are you telling me this? I know my stuff. I've been doing it for the past 5 years. You know, so as leaders, we need our time. So we need to be situational to put the time where is most needed. Yes, this is the diagnosing workbook where you can practice. These are situations that we go through exactly during the exam, and the team answered these questions. For example, I read very fast this situation. One of the team member has just been appointed to her first team leader position. So this is a lady who was promoted to a leadership position. She's excited about her new job and wants to begin setting goals with her people. Unfortunately, she has no formal management training, and this is usually the case. And Blanchard have a nice program that we conduct. It's called First Time Leader or First Time Manager, actually, or Management Essentials, and takes you through the transformation from being an employee who's good, and then you transfer to be a leader or a manager. You need to have a transformation. There is a gap there that we help you go through it, and does not understand how to write SMART goals. Time is effort, time of the essence, because yearly performance plan are due in their 3 weeks. So what do you think? What is the goal here? She needs to assign SMART goals, right? This is the first job, right, for her. So what do you think her competence in doing the job? Doing SMART goals?
Yeah,
No,
sure.
no,
Excitement.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So we can take very quickly 1 or 2 questions from participants, and there is an amazing session from your side, and all of the session you are to go in engaging mood.
Thank you so much.
So, sir, can we take 1 or 2
yes,
or 3
please,
questions from participants?
I'm all ears.
Dear participants, you can ask question. I think 1 or 2 participants asking question that how we identify the situational leadership in our leadership journey.
Yeah. See, usually when we talk about leadership, we talk about from the long days from Ohio State universities. They work on the process. So they were more process oriented, and they say if you give a good procedure, good way, people will follow and they will do. But then Michigan State University came up with no. People have their own ideas and their own thoughts. So you give them more inspiration, you give them more autonomy, and they will do more. So then we have the management matrix where, and Ken Blanchard did it an excellent way. See, we as leader, we have 2 behavioral styles, either directive style, where we give directions, or supportive style. And we have to use this combination between directive style, where we give SMART goals, or we give trust, where we give support. Okay, so we move from S1, which is matching, which is the 3rd skill that we didn't engage with, matching your style, your management style, with the development level with the person. So when you diagnose that person is D1, you use S1. And S1 is all about direction, giving him direction, a lot of direction, maybe templates, maybe how to do things. Now, to move him toward D2, he requires different approach from the leaders, which is S2. S2 is all about coaching, okay? And then you move him to D3. D3, now you gave him a lot of directions, a lot of support during the coaching. Now all he needs is support and trust, and maybe engaging him by asking him questions and make him feel that he can do it, because remind him of his new his previous successes. So you use style S with him. So if you saw, for each development level, there is a specific needs for each individuals. And you need to position yourself according to the style. For example, if D4, then he doesn't need a lot of support. He doesn't need a lot of direction. But no does not mean never. No, of course, people need support. And sometimes when you are managing your people in a nice way, where you're developing all the time, and you're looking at their development level, and they're developed from D1 to D4, from different skills to different tasks, they feel that they've changed. They feel that they have gained a good skill. They became knowledge worker. They can go work anywhere. They can develop their own business. So this is what leadership is all about.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taqi.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have seen another question from Mr. Wasiul Islam. What is the difference between adaptive leadership and situational leadership?
Well, here we lose into the wording. You know, see, there are what we preach really, or what we study. We read so many books, and usually they play around with words. For example, you know, in the old days we used to play around with words. We say the stick and the carrots. You know, we use the punishment or the appraise to manage our people. Now, Ken Blanchard looked at it in a nicer way, and he changed the word to be directive behavior or supportive behavior. Now, there are many books that comes with mindful leadership, with the visionary leadership, or thoughtful leadership. But the inside of it, or the core of it, don't confuse yourself. It's the same thing. Being situational is being, you know, mindful about the person who's in front of you and his situation and where he is now. Especially now, especially after the epidemic that we are now. Now people are coming back 30%, 50% back to the work. As a leader, you have to be really mindful, and you have to be really situational to your people, and really knowing them and asking them the question to find out and diagnose how they feel, how do you manage them, how do you motivate them to do the job. This is really needed. It's all the same for me. It's all the same. But you know, everybody adds their own flavor and their own way, and it becomes different subject.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Hamza Taqi.
Thank you.
We have another question.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Muqtadir Rahman Shaki.
Yes, sir.
How to control bad situation in our job place?
Bad situation, and well, see, it's our perception. Situation that we are in are situation, and they have to happen to us, because life is about situation that happens to us. Now, I look at situation as a situation. Every situation is a situation. Now, there are bad situations and there are good situations. We have no problem with the good situation. With the bad situation, you only have two choices. Either you can change it. If you can change it, it's brilliant, it's good. You're in the safe side. But if you can change it, it's better to accept it and live with it. Because see, resisting brings persistence. Don't resist. A situation we are in, we have two choices only. Either we accept it as is and we live with it in harmony, or we change it if we can. If we cannot change it, it's bad to resist it. It will be in our mind all the time, and it will ruin our life. We will not be successful. Better to accept it and live with it and move on.
Thank you very much. It's a very good example from your side.
Thank you, sir.
A question from Mr. Engineer Masood Parvez. He asked how we can develop our situational leadership skill, because our today's topic is situational leadership. Well,
in the beginning, you should attend the Blanchard SL2 program. But in general, my advice to you is to go into Ken Blanchard companies that come, and download or go to Google and download the situational leadership model. Now, what we learn together is the development level and the competent and the competency of each person to identify to diagnose which development level, and then from there the model will show you which support behavior you should do with your people, or which directive behavior you should do with people, depending on their situation. We have to apply what we learn. Knowledge is only knowledge, but if we apply it, this is only where we become more situational. You know, only 1% of leaders are full, they use the 4%. 53%, I think, according to the research that Kim Blanchard companies did, 53 do two styles. So we are really, you know, King Blanchard and what we preach is all about situational leadership. We're trying to do this because this knowledge is really, if it's impacted on the whole organization and from the top to the top level, everybody uses it, everybody is clear. All the papers, all is documented, the task needed, when I met my boss, it's all documented, it's all clear. The people will be really comfortable because you have the right situation with your boss, and the boss you're dealing with is with you according to your development level, so there is no clash, no conflict, and things will be smooth. It's all communication, by the way. It's all conversation. It's all conversation. But they really constructed in a nice way, and they gave us templates and gave us a worksheet to work with to help us, you know, apply these knowledge to become expert and become situational leaders.
Thank you very much, Mr. Excitement. You mentioned the Ken Blanchard.
Yes,
already,
he's my mentor.
I just provided kenblanchard.com, this website.
And it's based on the 1 Minute Manager.
You can go through this website and you can learn about situational leadership more.
Yes.
So, right.
Or you can email me, I'll send you some documents.
All right. Mr. Hamza Taqi, can you say your email ID? I just wrote it in comments.
Yes, Hamza.
Please.
Hamza, H-A-M-Z-A, at knowledge.
At Knowledge.
.com.kw.
.com.kw.
Correct.
HAMZA at knowledge.com.kw.
Correct.
Yes, dear participants, আপনারা ওনাকেও ইমেইল করে এই সম্পর্কে আরো জানতে পারেন, and you can connect with Mr. Hamza Taqi with Facebook, with LinkedIn. You just write it
Instagram.
Hamza Taqi. Right.
Yes.
Yes. One question to you, Mr. Hamza Taqi.
Yes, sure.
Right now you are staying in New York.
Yes, sir.
Can you share 1 or 2 points about New York? Is the Corona pandemic situation right now? How is you see right now?
Well, I came 3 days ago, and the only reason I came, or allowed to come by my government in Kuwait, is because I have 3 daughters who just graduated from Pace University, and they are doing their internship now for 1 year before they go for their MBA. So actually they cannot come to Kuwait, so we decided to come and visit them here in New York. New York is beautiful, it's coming back to normal. People are going out, although it's masked. A new norm, people are all stickers on the floor to guide people how to walk, where to stand, to make sure they have social distancing. What I liked about New York is the fact that the maintenance of the city. You know, the garbage can, the bin, the garbage bin, it's a new one. Last year I came, you know, there was a different one. The streets, they're always maintaining. The Brooklyn Bridge is more than 100 years. You still have people working there to maintain it. You know, the garden, the park, you see people are, working and fixing the plans for the summer and stuff. So, you know, I love New York. People are working their back with the cautions. They are exercising, good culture. They all have masks on. The shop, you're not allowed to enter any shop without mask. You have a specific number to go into the shop. But things are normal, and they're getting bit by bit. They're walking in the parks. They're exercising. They're doing good, and I'm glad. You know,
great.
I'm fortunate to be here in this time.
Great, great, Mr. Taqi. Can you go close from your camera to outside? Right now, can we see your outdoor from your home?
Yes. This is the outdoors. I don't know if you see the scrap that I'm doing here.
Yeah, of course. Right, we are seeing. It's good.
And this is
New York. Yeah, dear viewers, you are seeing New York
I will
City.
show you the graduation party because
great.
Because they were, you know, they had graduation virtually. Yes, they had the graduation virtual, but one of my daughter made all this party graduation extravaganza, she called it, and we were in Kuwait when they had their graduation, and we connected through Zoom.
Well, thank you very much. So
thank you.
Thank you,
Future Icon. Thank you, Mr. Yusin Afti, for allowing me to be with you and your audience. I had a great time, and thank you so much. It's my pleasure to connect with you wherever, through Instagram and everything. But I would like you to believe the idea is what a man can do, another can. What a man can do, another can. What does that mean? I mean, any person who climbed Mount Everest, once a person reached Mount Everest, many people reached Mount Everest, right? So usually, don't think that you cannot reach wherever your dream is. As long as a person did it, you can do it. You have all the capability. You as a person, Allah, the creator, God, created you, the divine, created you with full abundance, with the resources required for you to put your stamp on this earth. Life is short, but you can live your time in this life where people will remember you, like all the great people, like Mother Teresa, like Gandhi, like Winston Churchill. I don't know, whatever your leader is, or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and so on. So thank you so much. I love you all, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza Taqi. We are really grateful to you for your time and your contribution to the society, and it is really amazing. And you did really very, very engaging session with situational leadership.
Thank
you shared with us keen ventured intellectual property from your side.
Yes.
And
yes,
it's a really, really great session for us, for Bangladesh.
Appreciate
it. We are really want to show special gratitude to you from
Thank
all
you.
of our side, our Bangladeshi people. Salute to you.
Salute you all. I love you all. I love Bangladesh.
Right. Thank you very much. Yes. Dear viewers, you are saying that we are closing in this session, and we want to mention one or two things. You can join with us with our next upcoming session with Leadership for High Performance. It will be conducted with 7 to 11 July, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And you can save to join our next program. And you must write your learning summary to our designated assignment board. On that case, you will get a beautiful certificate along with a signature of Mr. Hamza Taqi. And he will see how you describe his session through your learning summary. Best of luck to all of you. And one point I want to remember to all of you, please write a review to our Facebook page. It's mandatory to all of you for participating in this session, as well as আপনার certificate পাওয়ার জন্য. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Love you all. Bye bye.